Hello, in this video we're going to talk about the business plan. And the business plan is sometimes strikes fear in the heart of everybody that's running a small business. And whether you're starting a business from scratch or you're going to buy an existing business or you want to expand your own business, the business plan is essential. Now, it's always essential, almost always, if you're going to try to get financing. Especially if you're going to try to get a small business loan. So sit back, and in this video, we're going to talk about the specific elements of a business plan. We'll give you some tips on doing that. And hopefully, after watching this video, you'll be able to create a business plan that gets you the financing or at least puts you on the track that you need to be for your business. A business plan is essential even if you're not thinking about expanding or getting financing for your business, because a business plan helps just guide you and direct you and you know where you're going to go. Let's just take a look at a couple of fun quotes here. Zig Ziglar said, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Well, that makes sense for your business plan. If you don't know where your business is headed, if you don't have a plan, who knows where you're going to end up? Yogi Berra said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up somewhere else. Well, the business plan helps you know where you're going, but it also helps you remember who you are and why you're in business to begin with. Sometimes a business plan really might be nothing more than a sketch on a napkin that you do over lunch. That's not a very formal business plan, and hopefully it usually grows beyond that. And sometimes businesses just evolve from just a basic idea, and they evolve into very successful businesses. The business that I started and grew, Rocky Mountain Business Academy, started with just an idea and a need that we saw, and it was almost like, hey, yeah, these people need this. Why don't we try that? We really didn't even have a formal plan as we started out. However, but as we started to become a little bit more successful and we started growing, we started thinking about expansion, and it became obvious very, very quickly that we needed to standardize our expansion efforts. We also needed a reminder all the time of who we were, why we were in business, and our business plan included our mission statement and our vision. And that helped us keep us grounded, and it helped us refine our policies and our procedures to make us more successful. Well, very recently, I did have the opportunity to help a family member create a business plan in an attempt to get an SBA loan. She was interested in purchasing an existing business, and the loan that she needed to do that was $1.5 million. Well, I'm happy to report that she did indeed get the Small Business Administration loan, and she purchased the business a little over a year ago and is doing absolutely great. And I'd like to say that the loan was approved just because of my efforts in helping her create the business plan, but of course that certainly was not the case. The loan was approved not because of the plan, but because of the management team that she had in place, the experience that she had in the field, and she had very clear plans for growth. The business plan, though, just helped us to formalize the expertise and the ideas that she already had. It helped us put her ideas and expertise into the format that the loan officers were looking for. So yes, the business plan helped, but it's really the people behind the plan that make financing approval possible. In the next video in this series, I'm actually going to talk about what it actually takes. What are the additional steps involved to get an SBA loan? But let's go ahead and continue talking about the elements of a business plan. The way you approach your business plan, especially when it comes to the financial reports, is going to be completely different whether you're working on a startup business idea or you're proposing to expand or purchase an existing business. If you're already in business, you're going to have historical financial data that you can use to project. You're also going to have existing customers, existing suppliers, and a management team already in place. If you're proposing a startup, though, you may have a management team put together, but you're going to have to estimate your sales, your expenses, and you're going to also have to think about who your customers are going to be, as well as your suppliers. So quite simply, creating a business plan for a startup is far more difficult than it is for an existing business because you're working with projections on data that you do not have yet. However, when it comes to a startup, having a business plan is even more essential because it's going to help you map the direction that you want to go with your business. Well, here are the essential elements of a basic business plan, and we'll go over each of these in detail as we continue. But your business plan is going to have an executive summary, it's going to have a general description of your company, it will discuss the products and services of your business, it will discuss your marketing and your operational plan, it will include a personal financial statement, because your personal assets are going to be part of procuring financing. It will discuss how much you're going to need to start your business, and of course, it's going to include your financial plan and your financial projections. So let's go ahead and go over these in detail. Well, the first thing somebody is going to see when they open up your business plan, outside of the table of contents, of course, is going to be the executive summary. And while this occurs first in the document, it's something that you actually probably want to create last because this is summarizing what you've already done. So, in your summary, you want to give the potential investor or the bank everything they need to know in 2 pages or less. And then, of course, the details are going to follow in the other sections. So, in your executive summary, you're going to summarize who you are, the problem and the solution that you provide, your target market, describe your owners, the owners and the management team, and talk about the future outlook for your business. Now, you want to make this enthusiastic, professional, complete, and concise. This is your chance to sell your business idea. You want to make it exciting. Make somebody very excited in investing in your business. Once we get past the executive summary, the real meat of the business plan begins. And so the next section is the general company description. And so this is going to be a much more detailed explanation. You're going to include your mission statement, your company goals and objectives, your business philosophy, what's important to you and your business, a brief description of your target market. You'll discuss this more in detail in your marketing section, though. Okay, you're going to describe briefly your industry. So, who are your competitors? Is this a growth industry? And how are you going to develop a niche in this industry? Why are you going to succeed in this particular venture? Do you have special education, skills, and training and experience that are going to help this succeed? Is it your management team that's going to help this succeed? And of course, you're also going to describe the legal structure of your business. Is this going to be a sole proprietorship, a corporation, or an LLC? Well, the next section in your business plan is going to be your products and services section. Now, before I talk about this section in detail, let me address a question that I get asked a lot. That question is, how many pages should each of these sections be? Now, remember, I am a college professor most of the time, and the number of pages and the number of words in a report and on a page are important details for students. And so, if you're a student of a recent college graduate, you're going to be thinking about pages. Well, the answer is, how many pages does it take for each of these sections? The answer is as many as it takes. So if you can do it in one page, wonderful. In most cases, though, it's going to take multiple pages to thoroughly describe whatever section we're talking about. So in this section, we're talking about a detailed explanation of your products and services. So describe in depth, what are your products? Um, what service are you proposing? Now, if you have, detailed bulky items like a sample of the product or sales brochures, those will actually belong in the appendix. But in this case, though, you're just going to describe in detail what you're actually going to sell. You also want to talk about, how are you going to gain a competitive edge? Uh, are there some competitive advantages and disadvantages? And what level of quality are you going to have? And are there some unique proprietary features about your product or service that makes it difficult for others to enter that market or to be able to duplicate what you're doing? You're also going to be wanting to talk about your pricing fee. Is this going to be something they purchase? Are they going to lease? Is it going to be a subscription basis? So all of these items go into your products and services section. All right, the next section is your marketing plan. Again, this is a very detailed explanation. You're going to talk about what market research that you've done. Have you done surveys? Have you done focus groups? Include that all in your business plan. You need to include some facts about your industry. Is this a growth industry? Is it an industry that's dying? Is it cutting edge? You're also going to be talking about the features and the benefits of the products and service that you're developing. You're going to talk about who your proposed customers are or existing customers if you are buying an existing business or expanding an existing business. You need to talk about your competition. Who else has a product that is similar or a service that's similar? Are they large? Are they small? Are you going to be able to compete with them? You're also going to be talking about your promotion, your pricing, your location, and your distribution. So, how are you going to advertise this product? How are you going to let people know that it is available? What kind of pricing strategy are you going to use? Is it enough to make money? Are you going to be doing a luxury price? Or are you going to be doing kind of just a low entry level price? Where are the people going to be able to get this product or service? Are you going to market this in retail stores? Are you going to market online? And that goes along with distribution too. If you're selling a product, how are they going to get it? Are you going to ship it to them? Are you going to have someone else do the shipping? Or are you expecting them just to pick it up at a retail store? And of course, retail stores are kind of a dying breed these days. And finally, you're also going to include a sales forecast. How much of this product or service do you expect to sell in the first year, the first 3 years, and the 5 years, and so on? So again, very detailed marketing plan. You have to do your homework, and your marketing plan is the proof that you've actually done your homework. Right, the next section in your business plan is your operational plan, and not everything I'm going to describe might apply, especially if you're not producing products, if you're maybe reselling products that you purchase elsewhere, or if you have a service. But if you are producing products, you need to talk about how you're going to produce your product. You're going to talk about where you're going to produce your product or service. You also need to talk about the legal environment. Are there certain licenses that you need or your permits? Where I live, there is a paper plant, and I can just imagine putting in a paper plant today would be very, very difficult because of all of the environmental uh, permits and licenses that they would have to get. But if you're going to put in a paper plant, you need to talk about how you're going to get all those licenses and permits. You need to talk about personnel. How many people are you going to have, especially if you're producing a product? Who's going to be producing the product? Who's going to be selling the product? How many? And of course, even if with a service, you need to talk about how many people are going to be providing that service. You need to discuss your inventory. Even if you're producing a product, you're going to have raw materials. Are you going to be stocking materials? Are you going to be using just-in-time inventory? What is your anticipated or existing turnover rate? And your suppliers, who are they? Do you have to purchase them overseas? Are there supply chain issues that you might encounter due to weather, hurricanes, typhoons? How reliable are these suppliers? So all of these things are going to go in, all of the things that are applicable are going to go into your operational plan. All right, the next section, you're going to discuss your management and organization. You talk about the management team in detail. So who's going to manage the operations? Is this a one-man shop? Do you have other people helping you? So if you have your qualifications, if you have a degree that is applicable, you have an MBA, you have an engineering degree, you have a sales and marketing degree, or you just have lots of experience in the field. These are things that you need to discuss. Do you have some advisors that are going to help you? Do you have some consultants? Do you have a team of advisors, including like an attorney and a CPA? So all of these things need to be in the management and organization section. Again, you're building credibility. You're helping a potential investor see that yes, these people are for real, and I can trust them with my money. Whether you're starting a new business or you're expanding an existing business or want to purchase an existing business, you've got to have some skin in the game. And so your banker, who is working in conjunction with the SBA, assuming you're going to get an SBA loan, is going to ask what equity you have. And if it's a purchase, for instance, you don't have any equity in that business, you may have to put up some of your own equity or show that you do have substantial assets, and probably about 10% of what you're trying to borrow that you'll need to have in equity. If you have an existing business, well, that business itself can service some of the equity. But you can just realize that if you have terrible credit and you don't have any personal assets, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to procure bank or small business administration financing. There are other avenues to procure financing in those situations. But again, a personal financial statement is going to be part of the business plan that you turn in to procure financing. The next section is projected startup expenses. And you've probably heard that many businesses, in fact, most businesses that fail in their first couple of years fail because they don't have the correct capitalization. You need to make sure that you have money to keep that business going the first couple of years. So, how much do you need? Explain that you've thought this out. Is this enough to operate until you're profitable? Plan for contingencies, a potential downturn in the market. And how did you determine these values? Did you have some assistance from a CPA? What models did you use? So those are going to go into the startup expenses section. Well, now we come to a very important section of the business plan. That's the financial plan. In the financial plan, you're going to need to include a 12-month profit and loss projection. And again, if this is an existing business that you're thinking about purchasing or expanding, you'll have historical data to work with. Otherwise, it's just going to have to be based just on projections. You're also going to have a 4-year profit projection. When are you going to start showing a profit, and how much profit do you expect? You need to talk about projected cash flow. What influxes do you think are going to be coming in? Are you going to have to need more financing to get this done, or more investors? You'll also need to provide an opening day balance sheet. How much cash are you going to have in hand? How much inventory you're going to have? In your financial plan, you'll also need to do a break-even analysis. Your break-even analysis is going to include variable costs and fixed costs. You can look at your CPA for advice on that, or you can find some other videos that'll explain how to work with the break-even analysis. But financial plan is something, of course, that the bankers are going to look at very, very carefully. And if you do need some assistance with this, again, there's no shame in getting assistance from a CPA, or having a CPA included on your team, your management team. So financial plan, extremely important. The last official section of your business plan are the appendices. Here you're going to include anything that was just too bulky to fit in the regular section. So you'll include your brochures and advertising materials. If you have product plans and blueprints, you'll include them here. Maps and photos of your location, copies of the lease that you're currently working with, contracts, business licenses, letters of support from future customers and existing customers if you're already in business, letters of support from suppliers, any other materials that you need to support the assumptions of this plan. Maybe credentials of the people in your business plan. You could even include potentially diplomas. If you've actually conducted some surveys, your market research studies, you want to include that. And then, of course, the assets that you're using for collateral. In college courses, the format is sometimes more important than the content of the document, and that is not the case when you're working with a business plan. If it isn't formatted exactly perfectly, it's not necessarily going to preclude you from getting your financing. However, using a standard format is going to make it easier for the banker to be able to look and evaluate your plan, because he's looking for specific content in those sections. I do have a small business administration template out on my website, luthermaddy.com. And I just want to remind you that the business plan is just one step in building a business, one step in procuring financing, but it is a very, very important step. In the next video, I will actually talk about some of the additional steps that are required in order to get a small business loan. Thank you very much. If you like this video, please consider liking it. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you again, and we'll see you in the next video.